Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you're having a great week so far. It is my honor and privilege to bring you part 2 of my Boadicea the Victorious collection video. We're going to start off. Thank you for reminding me. I forget who it was, but the last video I forgot Rose Sapphire. It's part of the Sapphire collection. I didn't bring it on the last video. And maybe one of my favorites from the Sapphire collection, although they are so good. Rose Sapphire is extremely resinous, Middle Eastern spices, and rose. A lot more complex than that, but sadly it is discontinued and it is very expensive to find if you are able to find it. But if you're a huge fan of rose Middle Eastern fragrances and you want something different than a typical rose and oud fragrance, this is definitely a lot different. Again, a lot more Middle Eastern spice, very resinous, strong, extremely long lasting and well projecting. Unbelievably good fragrance. So we'll start off with this one just so I don't forget it. But yes, Rose Sapphire is absolutely incredible. Next up we got Dasman here. Now Dasman, very similar fragrance in terms of the category as Rose Sapphire, but it's definitely rose, oud, and incense. Really nice, sweet, jammy rose. This is a lot of people's favorite from the house, and for that category, if you don't like as much oud and obviously the expense as something like Nebulous, in my opinion, Dasman is a lot more wearable than something like Nebulous, even though I really love Nebulous. The quality of oud in there is unmistakable, but if you're looking for more of a very compliment, very heavy projecting fragrance, Dasman, in terms of this fragrance category for rose and oud, is going to be very, very good. Definitely more traditional and not as compliment oriented as maybe the next fragrance coming up, and this is Almas, or Almas, depending on how you want to say it. Blueberry, pineapple, I mean, you get a very, very nice acidic, fruity opening with this. Rose, saffron. This to me, it's not as oud heavy or incense heavy as Dasman. More fruity, not quite as well projecting, but it does project very well. Longevity is about the same as Dasman, but Dasman is a little bit heavier of a fragrance, so if you're looking for something maybe even more compliment oriented and something maybe safer for office wear and close proximity, Almas may be one of the best fragrances that Boadicea makes, and that is saying a lot because they have a lot of good ones. Now next we got Complex 2020, somewhat of a newer fragrance for me personally. I bought it, extremely high quality, but it is just going to be very overwhelming for some people, including myself. I was actually thinking about returning this upon first spray. It has settled down since I purchased it, but it's a lot of pine, sage, basil. It's got leather, ambergris. It is certainly what I would describe as a green outdoor fragrance. It is always, with Boadicea, they are very well blended. I would say of the things that I've smelled from Boadicea, Complex 2020 is kind of the most in-your-face sort of thing that they make, maybe besides Kawa and a couple others, but it's not going to be for everybody, we'll put it that way. But I'm glad I kept it. It's going to be really nice and interesting to see how that wears during the winter season with that pine note as well. Another gorgeous fragrance. This is King of the World, again, discontinued, very difficult to find, expensive if you can find it. Green, aromatic, creamy, woody. I love this fragrance a lot because it reminds me of a more Middle Eastern and a heavier oil concentration version of Gramercy Park. I know everyone loves to compare Boadicea fragrances to anything close in that category, just to draw a comparison. It is in the same category as Gramercy Park, which is one of my favorite fragrances from Bond number 9. I actually have a backup bottle of Gramercy Park. But King of the World, just because it's in the same category, owning both fragrances, they are a lot different, but they do share that very clean, green, kind of creamy, musky, dry down with the woods and stuff. King of the World is a lot more aromatic, so it's definitely going to be a little bit more in your face type of fragrance. It's not as subdued as Gramercy Park. So if you like those types of fragrances and you've kind of been on the hunt for King of the World, if you can find it, it may be worth the money for you, but it is expensive. I think I paid about $600 for that one, which isn't bad considering that's close to what it came out for, like the retail price when it came out. So that wasn't terrible, but I know I've seen them a lot higher than that. Next one. Again, we're going over my collection, so don't get upset because a lot of these are discontinued. This is another discontinued fragrance from Boadicea the Victorious, and this is Pure Narcotic. And I'll leave the names of these fragrances. I don't think I did it in the first video, but I'll leave the name of these fragrances in the description in order, just so you guys can kind of follow along. But this is Pure Narcotic. And again, maybe to compare to something that people have smelled before that has been out a while, this is like a more aromatic version of maybe like an homage beloved man. Definitely a fougere, like a Middle Eastern fougere type fragrance, similar to Beloved Man. I own both of them. It's not really redundant in my collection, but if I had to grab them, I would probably grab Pure Narcotic over Beloved Man, just because it does seem to have a little bit more aggressiveness and projection. Very common for Boadicea, right? So next up, maybe a lot of people watching this may be one of the most favorite fragrances the house has ever created, and it's relatively new. This is 1907, special edition for Neiman Marcus. A little bit of a designer DNA to me, and that's not a bad thing, because just like everything, Boadicea just took it to the extreme next level. Sage, red berry, there's definitely some sweetness in the opening. You got some tobacco and some other darker notes and the base notes, but it's nothing that's overpowering. It's definitely not a fragrance that's centered around the note of tobacco, like maybe Tobacco Sapphire, King of the World, something like that. So it is very different. Now, another one that is a very mass appealing fragrance that doesn't get spoken about a lot, but is absolutely mesmerizing. It's Majestic. Man, I think this has got like lemon, red berry, cinnamon, suede. I believe this has tobacco and oud in as well. Maybe just tobacco. It's hard with all these fragrances to pinpoint the notes just going off of memory. You just got to smell this. There's no words that I can say to really do this justice. The formula itself is extremely well blended, as you would expect with Boadicea. Extremely high quality ingredients. I mean, you just got to try Majestic. Very, very good. And the next two that I mentioned, Majestic here and then Azrak coming up, in terms of the pricing for the House of Boadicea, they're relatively affordable. When you compare it to some of their other fragrances, you're looking at $400 to $500 for these retail, and that is buying directly from Boadicea. You can find them on Joma Shop and some other places, maybe a little bit less expensive. I think Azrak I got for right around $290 with a coupon almost a year ago. And Azrak is beautiful, man. It's like a more floral marine fragrance. Got some white florals, ambergris. It smells like it has ambergris. It doesn't list ambergris as an ingredient, so maybe it's just some type of oceanic accord or a mix of ingredients that they've used. But salty, white floral, woody, musky, absolutely beautiful, easy to wear, highly complimented, safe for office, date nights. I mean, Azrak is a very, very good all-around fragrance from Boadicea. And again, compared to maybe blue or aqua sapphire, very affordable compared to those two options. So next, another discontinued fragrance. This is going to be a common theme. I had the Sapphire and the Zodiac series out before this. These are, I wouldn't say closer to my heart, but some of these I have gotten backup bottles of. I'll see if they don't make any more. I got a backup bottle of that. Pearl Moon, I don't know if I'd wear it enough, and it's going to be tough to find a backup bottle, but Pearl Moon is one of those fragrances I really wish that they still made. I think this was done along with Black Cashmere and maybe one or two other ones, but they're all in these types of bottles, these kind of pastel maroon type bottles. Gorgeous fragrance, man. This is spicy, sweet. It's got pineapple, some saffron, maybe some pepper notes going on, but it does smell very sweet and spicy. Very musk and wood forward as well. Very oud heavy. It definitely has some animalic notes in there, so it's not going to be for everybody, but Pearl Moon may be one of my favorites from the House of Boadicea. And when I do my ranking video, it's going to be tough because there is a chance where I may just leave the discontinued fragrances out of my top 10 or 15 just because people are going to be looking for them and they're going to be disappointed when they find out the price of them, if they are able to find them, just because they've been discontinued. So we'll stay along with that theme here. Incredible fragrance here. This is Amethyst from Boadicea, and it is also discontinued. So we're just going to stay with that theme. Maybe the best cinnamon fragrance ever made. This has a really unique, like black pepper, dark plum fruit, plum cake note with one of the best notes of cinnamon. It's a really good note in Majestic, and they do use cinnamon very well. But in this fragrance, it seems to be the heaviest. It is extremely I mean, it's a gourmand fragrance, even though it's not chocolate or coffee. But for me, the cinnamon note is so strong. It reminds me so much of like a spiced plum cake, or like even like a chai tea. Has a little bit of that chai tea note in there as well, with the sandalwood. Absolutely divine. For me, that's definitely something I save a little bit more for cooler weather there. So this one here, this is the king. Maybe my favorite fragrance that Boadicea makes, and again with Nebulous, Alcif, Aqua Sapphire, Tobacco Sapphire, all the ones I love from the Zodiac series. That is a bold statement, even Pearl Moon, but this is just for cigars, dressing up, you're going out for some cigars and drinks, going over to a friend's house or having people over. This is always one of my first choices. In fact, this may be next on my list to buy a backup bottle of if I can still find it for under $500. I really enjoy it that much. It's going to be tough though, because I have a lot of fragrances like that for that situation. I have a good amount of this left, so I don't know if it really justifies buying a backup bottle. But I definitely would not want to be without that fragrance. That is a very special fragrance to me, and I very much enjoy the King. Now, next, I've spoken about this fragrance a little earlier, and this is Kawa. Extremely unique, very polarizing. Some people are going to absolutely hate this fragrance. It is a very strong blast of bay leaf, eucalyptus, citrus. It is a full-on assault of your senses, especially in those opening notes. I find it to be amazing. I really enjoy this fragrance. It's very uplifting, invigorating, energizing, whatever word you want to use for it. Just seems to give you life. It smells good. Dry down is nice. I wouldn't want to have the opening of this fragrance, stay on my skin for 4 to 5 hours and it be, overly strong. Thankfully, it kind of dries down into more of those coffee and oud notes. A very developmental fragrance. So this is, in my opinion, for the cost, for the type of fragrance that it was, this is some of Boadicea's best work. It really is. Different for the house, not a rose and oud fragrance, even though it does have oud in it. But the whole goal of this fragrance was to kind of replicate the idea behind Middle Eastern coffee, how it has a little bit of a citrus note and a fresh note to it, along with the deeper coffee and wood notes. Really good stuff. Got to try it. Spring or summer. Even cool weather, I don't think that would be out of place because it's very, very strong. But for me, warm weather, really, the bay leaf, the eucalyptus, the lemon, it really shines. So next, again, maybe my favorite fragrance from the entire house. I actually have a backup bottle of this. It is also discontinued, so sorry about that, and I'm sorry for anyone looking for a backup bottle because I did take one of those off the market, but this is Alcif. And I always get some of these videos confused when I watch them because I don't spend a lot of time on YouTube watching other people's videos. But somebody had this as their top 3 fragrance from the house of Boadicea, and they own just as much, if not more, Boadicea fragrances than I do. And for me right now, it's between this and a couple other ones for number 1 from the entire house. I mean, Alcif is raspberry, plum, florals, moss, oud. It definitely has a strong blast of oud in there, slightly animalic and funky as well, which really gives the fragrance a lot of character and a lot of masculinity because it is a fruity oud. Not quite like Violet Sapphire because it's got a lot more floral and moss and green notes in there. Alcif to me is very representative and a very good representative of what Boadicea is not only capable of as a house, but also kind of, very much into their house style. It's a rose oud fragrance, but a lot more fruity and floral than say like Dasman and even Almas. So it's not quite a quintessential rose and oud fragrance like Nebulous and Dasman. Maybe you could even throw a couple other fragrances that Boadicea has done in there, but to me, Alcif is just perfect. Very happy I got a backup bottle of that. Next up, we got Al Kut here. Maltol, woods, pimento, lavender. This has it all. And I was a little bit hesitant because it had the note of maltol, and I don't really like that heavy kind of burnt cotton candy sugar note. Very familiar with Baccarat Rouge and all the clones that go with Baccarat Rouge. So I was afraid this was going to smell like it. It doesn't at all. The maltol is very tamed back, and it is kind of, blended in and covered up by some of those other ingredients. And in fact, I think the reason they added the maltol in here is because it would have been a very dry type of fragrance without it. So the maltol kind of sweetens it up a little bit and livens it up, and that makes it to where the fragrance doesn't go too dry. So last and definitely not least, maybe one of the most complimented from the entire house of Boadicea the Victorious, and I know a lot of other people feel this way as well. This is Night of Love. And my goodness, did the price shoot up on this. I think I bought this fragrance for around $450 to $500 about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I don't remember what the retail was, but I had just purchased it for my dad for his birthday. So my dad actually owns this fragrance now as well. And the retail on it was $900. Now I think I got it at Joma's shop for around $550, $600. So it wasn't that much more than I paid for this discounted a few years ago. I just don't remember seeing the retail price for Night of Love that high. You know, I think it was $900 something on Boadicea's website, or at least maybe that's what they had the retail pricing before the sale pricing when I bought it on Joma's shop. But Night of Love is incredible. It's like tobacco, leather, juniper. It's a very green fragrance with some masculine fruity sweetness. With the juniper in there, it's not overly sweet. You know, violet sapphire for some people may go too fruity. I personally enjoy that. If you're looking for something that's still a fruity kind of outdoor fragrance, Night of Love for me is really, really nice with that juniper opening. Very well balanced, very compliment oriented, and women really seem to love Night of Love. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I think I got everything from my collection on here. I went through it, double checked it. I didn't bring the backup bottles of Aqua Sapphire or Alcif just because that'd be redundant. But yeah, this is my collection so far. Still adding to it slowly, but I've got so many things in my collection and so many from the house of Boadicea. Doesn't go unnoticed to me that, you know, this is definitely a privilege, and a lot of this is excess. A lot of it, you know, I do for personal enjoyment, of course, and for information for you guys. But yeah, there's nothing I've bought and then sold, because all these fragrances I truly enjoy, and you guys see it in the fragrance rotations that I wear these on a daily basis, and sometimes I don't even save them for special occasions. I just have so many fragrances. It's one of those things, you just wear whatever fits the occasion and what you feel like wearing, and yeah, you don't really worry about it too much, other than, of course, buying backup bottles of stuff that you don't want to be without. So hopefully, you know, if you're getting into the house of Boadicea the Victorious, this video helps you. If you got any questions or you want to share some of your collection, you know, leave it in the comments down below. And again, I'll leave the names of these fragrances, and I'll try to go back in the last video and add the names of those as well. So if you guys are looking to purchase any of these, again, no links, no discount codes. So yeah, all these are paid with my own money. Really enjoy them. Love the house of Boadicea, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again soon.